everyone, it's Dawn Marie with Custom Comfy Crochet, and today we are here for our first Christmas tutorial of 2018. Yay! And we are going to learn how to make this cutie patootie snowman. I made this pattern right after Thanksgiving or right before, I can't remember. Anyway, somewhere around there I made this pattern up and it's just so cute. My favorite part is this hat. It just fits right over the head just perfectly, and it's got the little poof at the end. We've got mittens and little black buttons and a little scarf. I'm going to show you how to do all this today. Let's go ahead and get into our materials. But first, let me tell you, please like, share, and subscribe. If you're on Facebook, please like and share. And if you haven't yet, please go subscribe to my channel on YouTube. I am going to be doing more giveaways coming up. I just had one not long ago, and that turned out really fun. And if you're on YouTube, like I said, please like, share, and subscribe as well. And please hit that bell so you can get notifications. Also on Facebook, which I'm doing live right now and will later upload to YouTube, there is a button that will that you can push to notify you when I have my live videos. So please remember to do all that. And yay! Okay, so the materials are, you are going to need a 4.5mm hook for this pattern. You're going to need a pair of scissors. You're going to need a darning needle, or if you call it maybe a crochet needle. You're going to need white yarn, red yarn, and black yarn. I used Red Heart for all of this. I think I used Red Heart Love for some of it, and just plain old Red Heart Super Saver. Actually, when you're doing this kind of amigurumi, I can't ever say that word right. I always want to say origami, but it's amigurumi. You really want a kind of a stiffer yarn. You don't want like a Karen's Simply Soft or something like that. You just want something that's really hardy. And so I find that the Red Heart actually works really great for this. So yeah. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. And what we're going to do is we're going to pull our white yarn out first. Oh, and also you are going to need a stitch marker. You can use a piece of yarn, or if you have it, you can use an actual plastic stitch marker. I'm going to be just using a piece of yarn today. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to start with is the bottom of the snowman. You will need 2 of these. They are exactly the same size. It is the exact same pattern. So I'm just going to show you obviously how to do one, because you're going to need 2. That's also going to apply for the arms and the mittens. Okay, so let's get started here. The first thing that we're going to do is we are going to do a magic circle. If you've seen my videos before, you know that there are 2 ways to do a magic circle. You can either chain 2, go to the first chain from the hook, and chain however many you need for the pattern for a magic circle, or you can do the actual hand. I have found that for this pattern, the magic circle itself works best. So we're going to do that. I will go over briefly how to do it, but you're just going to yarn facing down, tuck this behind your pinky, pull the yarn up and over the other piece, go under with your hook, and then pull in the other yarn, just like that. And even though I've been doing this for years, my big hands still get a little crazy when I do it. Okay, so then you just pull this little piece, and the way you know you got it right is if hi Jan, thank you for sharing. Okay, so then if you know you got it right, you can pull on this and it'll move this little circle here, and this is your working yarn. This should not have anything to do with this moving, and that lets you know you got it right. Now a trick is too, it is hard to crochet into these magic circles, especially when you're doing single crochets. I find that if you make it smaller, it's easier to work with. So I'm going to make it pretty small, and we're going to work 6 single crochets into this magic circle. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And if you hear me talking to anyone and you're watching my YouTube video of this, I'm not talking to myself. There are people that interact with me on Facebook Live, so you're going to hear that. Okay, so now we've got our 6 single crochets. Looks a little wonky, but we're going to pull this as tight as we can, and that's going to get everything, well, usually it makes everything right. Look what happened with that. Look at that. And this will happen sometimes for whatever reason. I don't know if I pulled too hard on that magic circle. It caused the outside, the inside of it to come out. So we're going to do that again. And this is the glory of live. You get to see that, you know, sometimes things just happen no matter how long you've been crocheting or what you're doing. So we're going to do that again, and let's see if it comes out right this time. So yarn facing down behind the pinky, over just like that. Just doing our magic circle here. I'll pull it down, and then again we're going to try to put 6 single crochet in here. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, that looks a little better this time. And now I'm going to pull slowly. And let's see if we can get this a little bit. There we go. That looks a lot better. So that's what that should look like. Kind of got like a little half circle thing going on there. Okay, so what we're going to do is count back 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So we know we're going to go right into this stitch right here, and we're going to be working in the circle or in the round, which means we're not going to slip stitch. We're just going to go right into this next stitch right here, the first one we did, and we're going to work 2 single crochets. You can use a stitch marker now if you choose to. I'm just going to go in and do this one round without one. So I'm going to go right in here, and I'm going to do 2 single crochets, 1 and 2. Then I'm going to do 2 single crochets in the next, 3 and 4. And I'm going to keep doing that all the way around for a count of 12. 5 and 6. So 2 in each stitch. 7 and 8. 9 and 10. 11 and 12. Okay, so that's what that looks like right there. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and use a stitch marker for this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a piece of yarn. I think I'm going to use, I've got some red yarn over here. Sorry, I'm off camera. Hi, Susan. Yes, get your yarn. Okay, so now we're going to use our stitch marker. So I'm going to go ahead and put this right in here. Just like that, see? And now I'll know when I'm beginning and ending because we're not doing any slip stitches, and it makes it really hard to see. Plus we're working with single crochets, which are just hard to see anyways. Okay, so now we've done our 2 around, and we've got a stitch count total of 12. And now we're going to do what I call 1 and 2. If you've ever seen my videos, you know what this means, but if you haven't, I'm going to show you. So we're going to go right into our next stitch working in the round, and we're going to do 1 single crochet. Then we're going to go into the next, and we're going to do 2 single crochets. And in the next, 1 single crochet. And in the next, 2 single crochets. And you're just going to keep doing that all the way around until you have a stitch count of 18. Please remember that when you're making amigurumi, you need to try to make your stitches as tight as you can because you are going to be stuffing this snowman. And I'm so sorry, in the materials I did not tell you you do need stuffing, okay, because you are going to stuff this. You can use if you have some old pillows, if you have some old stuffed animals, you can always repurpose that. You don't have to go out and buy it. You can also use yarn, like if you have just leftover yarn from stuff that you don't need, you can also use that. But I actually have some stuffing that I'm going to be using. Okay, so let's see, where were we? We did 1 and 2, 1 and 2, And now we're going to go in and do 1 single crochet, and the next we're going to do 2 and 1 and 2. It's our crochet exercises. 1 and 2 and 1, and the last one we're going to take our stitch marker out and do 2. Now let's just count back and make sure that we have 18. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. 18 counting this, our working stitch here. Okay, you always count that in your count. Okay, so we're going to put our stitch marker back in, and we're going to keep increasing. Okay, and now what we're going to do is 2 and 2. Which means we're going to go into our next stitch, do a single crochet, go into our next stitch, do a single crochet, and into the next we're going to do 2 single crochets. And again, 1, and then another 1, and then 2. So I call that the 2 and 2. It's actually how I write it when I'm writing out a pattern. Okay, and then you should end with 24 stitches this time. Okay, 1 and 2, and then 2 in the same. And 2, and again 2 in the same. We're going to take out our stitch marker to do our last 2 in that same spot, and then we're going to put our stitch marker right back. Okay, so now, like I said before, we have a stitch count of 24, and now we're going to do 3 and 2. So we're going to go right into our next stitch here, working in the round, and we're going to do 1 single crochet, then we're going to go into the next and do another single crochet, into the next do another single crochet, and into the next one we're going to do 2 single crochets. So that was 3 single crochets, and 1 in each, and then 2 together. 2 in the same one. So again, 1, 2, and 3, and then 2. 1 and 2. One, 2, and 3, and then 2. 1, 2, and 3, and then 2. And you should have a stitch count of 30 when you're done with this round. One, 2, and 3. And then we take our stitch marker out and we do our 2 right in where our stitch marker was. Then we're going to put our stitch marker back. And now we're going to do 4 and 2, which if you're following here, you know what that means. We're going to do 4 single crochets each in the next 4, and then 2 in one. So we're going to go into our next stitch, 1 single crochet, and the next 1 single crochet, and the next 1 single crochet, and the next 1 single crochet, and in the next one we're going to put 2. Okay, and you're going to do that all the way around, 4 and 2. 1, 2, 3 and 4, and then 1 and 2, and then 1, 2, 3 and 4, and then 2. Just keep doing that all the way around, and you're going to end up with a stitch count of 36. Okay, so we're nearing the end here, so we're going to do 1, 2, 3, and 4. And we pull our stitch marker out. That is now turned into 2 stitch markers. Look at that. Just totally went apart. And in this last one, we're going to put 2. Okay? And now this is what this looks like. You're going to see it's starting to bend just a little bit. Okay, just like that. All right. And now what you're going to do is you're going to do a 1 single crochet all the way around, and that'll be a stitch count of 36, and you're going to do that 5 times. So you're just going to go round and round and round. You're going to do it 5 times. Okay. So we'll meet you back here when you get done with that. Okay. So now, once you get done with all of your 5 rounds of single crochets, this is what it's going to look like. Okay. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to start decreasing. We're going to start decreasing to make the body, to make this round. Just like this. Okay, so now the first thing that we're going to do, we've already got our stitch marker in, is we're going to start decreasing with the last one that we did. So we ended with 4 and 2 for our increases. So now we're going to do 4 and 2 decreases. So what we're going to do is we're going to go right into our next stitch, and we're going to do 1 single crochet, go into the next, 1 single crochet in the next, 1 single crochet, and then in the next 1 single crochet, and then you're going to do 2 together. So you're going to go right into your next, pull your yarn up, but don't go through anything, go through your next, pull it up, and now you can go through all 3, and that's how you decrease and do 2 together. So you're going to keep doing that all the way around. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then 2 together, just like that. Okay, and again, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then 2 together. When you get done with this round, you should end with a stitch count of 30. But we're going to keep working our way around. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then 2 together. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 2 together. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And in the last one, you're going to want to pull out your stitch marker, and that'll be the last 2, the one before and then that one where your stitch marker was. You just go in and you do 2 together. Okay? And now moving on, the next thing that we're going to do is 3 single crochets and a decrease. We'll do 2 together, so 3 and 2. So now, working in the round, we're going to go right into our next stitch and do 1 single crochet, 2 single crochet, 3 single crochet, and then work 2 together. And you're going to do that all the way around for a stitch count of 24. I've got so much yarn everywhere. 1, 2, and 3, and then 2 together. 1, 2, and 3, and then 2 together. 1, 2, and 3, and 2 together. And when you're doing this, I'm sorry, I think I was off camera, I'm so sorry. When you're doing your decreases like this, you're going to notice that your spaces are getting bigger. You want to try to keep them as tight as you can. It does get a little difficult as you're going up to the top, but that's okay. So just keep doing that there, okay? So just keep kind of trying to do it tightly. And now we're at our last decrease. I'm just going to pull them all together like that, okay? And you can kind of pull on your yarn to make them tighter as you're doing your 2 togethers. Okay, so I'm going to put my stitch marker back in place. And while y'all are on live, I'm going to call my husband in here because earlier I had to turn on my air because it got so hot. It was like 65 degrees here, and I know that doesn't seem hot, but we had the heat on, and so now I'm freezing. So hold on just a second. Hey, babe. Okay. So my wonderful husband is going to turn off the air conditioning. Okay, so now we did our 3 and 2 decrease, and we should have a stitch count of 24. And now we're going to do our 2 and 2 decrease, okay? So we're going to go right into our next stitch, and we're going to do 1 single crochet, go into the next and do another single crochet, and then go into the next and do a decrease. So we're just going to put our hook through, pull up our yarn, don't do anything, go into the next stitch, pull up our yarn, and then we go through all 3, okay? So then we're going to single crochet in the next 2, 1 and 2, and then we're going to go into the next and do a decrease. So we're going to do 2 together, okay? And again, we're just going to keep doing that all the way around, trying to make our stitches as tight as we can. And then at the end of this round, you should have 18. So 2 single crochets and 2 together. Okay. And then, so now we did our last decrease, and we're going to put our stitch marker back in, and I'm going to count and make sure that we have 18, because I think maybe somewhere along the way while I'm talking and teaching here that I may have messed up. Even if I did, I don't care. I'm going to keep going. It'll probably turn out okay. Just remember that too. If you're at home and unless it's like severe, like you've messed up, if you're one off, it's going to be okay. Don't worry about it. Just keep going. Because who has time for that? Like, you do all that work and have to undo it. It really will usually turn out okay. But let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Okay, I think we are on 18, so I think we're okay. But like I said, if you were off one, it's not going to be the end of the world, I promise. So if you were off several, you know, you might could tell. But anyway, so now we're down to our 1 and 2, okay? So now we're going to do a 1 single crochet in the next, then 2 together, then a 1 single crochet in the next, and 2 together, and then 1 single crochet in the next, and 2 together, and 1 single crochet in the next, and 2 together. You're going to keep doing that all the way around, and you should have a stitch count of 12. Okay, so just keep doing that all the way around. And like I said, as you can see, they start to get a little bit bigger as you go around, but that's okay. Just try to do it as tight as you can. See, I'm just kind of pulling a little bit. Okay, and then we're going to put our stitch marker out, and for our last one, we're going to do our last 2 together here. Okay. And so this is what it should look like so far. You're going to see indents and stuff like that. That's okay. That's normal. That's going to be there until you put the stuffing in. Okay, so now we're going to put our stitch marker back. And I'm going to go ahead and stuff this at this point, because the next thing I'm going to do is a decrease all the way around. So we're going to do 2 together all the way around until we have a stitch count of 6. So I'm going to go ahead, because that hole gets a little bit too small for me to work in. But, you know, hey, if you want to keep going, you can. So I'm going to, you know, take my stuffing, and I'm going to, you know, make sure that I break it all apart so it's easily moldable. I'm not going to just put it in there without doing this because it looks funky. And then I'm going to just simply start stuffing the bottom of the snowman. Remember, you do need 2 of these for the snowman. Okay. And just keep, and I take my 2 fingers and I just move this all around as I'm putting it in so it'll make it round. Okay. You would think that you would not need that much stuffing, but you actually always need more than you think you do for these. It always blows my mind how much you really need. You think, oh, that's so tiny, you're not going to need that much, but it's just so dense that it really packs itself down. So, okay, we're just pushing this out, and I'm using my fingers, my fingernails, to move this all around. You do want it stuffed pretty well because you want it to hold its shape. Okay, so the way that I usually tell, I use my hands to mold this how I want it, but the way I usually tell it's where I want it to be is when the stuffing is starting to come out of the top on its own. That lets me know that I've stuffed it as much as I need to, and actually that really needs a little bit more. So I'm going to put just a tiny bit more in there. I mean, literally just a little bit there on top, just where it looks like it's poking out at me. Okay, and that's what it looks like. So now we're going to do our final little round of decreases here. So with our stitch marker in place and we have it all stuffed, we're going to go right into our next available stitch, which it's not there. It looks like it might be there, but really if you look closely, your working yarn is still into this right here. So you want to go into this next one, and you want to pull up, go into the next, pull up your yarn, and then go all 3. You're going to do that all the way around 6 times. So there's the second decrease. Here's my third decrease. There's my fourth decrease. My fifth. And pull that stitch marker out and do your last one right here. through all of those. Now, when we get down here to the bottom, there's still a tiny little hole there, okay? And what you're going to do is you're just going to cut off right there. And what I like to do, you can use your darning needle and, sorry, my camera is getting a little wonky. You can just use your darning needle and sew back and forth, but I actually like the way it looks better when I just go around and do a slip stitch after I've cut off there. And I just keep doing a slip stitch around. And as I'm doing those slip stitches, it will start to totally close in. And I just think that looks a little bit better, but you can absolutely use a darning needle. Okay, so then I just pull my yarn through, tie off right there, and then I just push it in a little bit, and look at that. There you go. That's what the bottom of your snowman looks like. See, just like that. Now, what you're going to need is another one of these, just like I just showed you how to do for the middle. So then you'll have two, okay? So let's move on to the head then, and I'm going to show you how to do that. Again, you're still going to need what you had before. You're still going to need your 4.5 millimeter hook. And what we're basically going to do, I'm just kind of going to go through this quickly because it's very similar to the body. You're just doing it one smaller. So we're going to, I keep wanting to do the other magic circle, but you're going to go in and you're going to do another magic circle. And then you're going to do 6 single crochet just like you did before. You're going to start off the same exact way for this one, but I am going to show you how to get it done here. If I can ever get a magic circle. Been doing this so long and still it gets my hands all fumbled. Okay, so I'm just going to pull that down. I'll move all this stuff out of the way. So like I said, again, we're going to do 6 single crochets in our magic circle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then we're going to just pull them together just like that. Then we're going to count back 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Then we're going to go right into this first single crochet that we did. And we're going to do 2 single crochets in that, working in the round. 1, 2. Right into the next. Another 2, 3, 4. And we're just going to keep counting till we get to 12, doing 2 single crochets in each one around. 5 and 6, 7 and 8, 9 and 10, and 11 and 12. Now I just wanted to show you how to start this off again. I'm not going to go through this whole thing for the head because it is exactly like the body, okay? Exactly like the body. The only difference is instead of going up to 4 and 2, I'm only going up to 3 and 2. So what you're going to do is you're going to do your 12 around, then you're going to do 1 and 2, 2 and 2, and then 3 and 2. At that point, at 3 and 2, you will have 30 single crochets around, and you will again do 5 rows of those 30. So it is exactly like this, except you're only going to an increase of 3 and 2 instead of 4 and 2. I hope that makes sense. I'm really trying to not make my videos so long. I think that last little witch I did for Halloween was like, oh, it took like over an hour. But I know if you know how to crochet, you can always rewind this video if you want to. later on Facebook or on YouTube, and you can see that you just, instead of going up to 4 and 2, you're just going up to 3 and 2, and then you're going to continue exactly the same way with your decreases and everything. And then when you get done, your head is going to look like this without the hat on it. Okay, I'll raise my camera up a little bit here so you can see, but that's what it looks like. It's just a little bit smaller than the body portions. Okay, and I have one that's already partly completed, but this is what the head will look like as you get, after you get done, after you do your increases up to 3 and 2, and then you do your 5 and then you do your 5 rows of single crochets. This is what it'll look like, and then you'll start your decreases just like we did before. Okay, I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, or if you would rather me go through this kind of things in the future, please let me know. But I just was hoping that maybe this would work out. So just let me know what you think about that. Okay, but that's the head. Now, and to do the hat, okay, I'm going to go along with that with you and show you how to do the hat. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to take your red and your white yarn, and you're going to use them together. You're still going to use the absolute same crochet hook, which is going to make it a little difficult, but because we're making the hat and we want it to fit the head correctly, then you need to use the same crochet hook, even though we're putting 2 yarns together and it's quite a bit thicker. Okay, but so I'm going to take my yarn and I'm putting my yarns together so you can see here. I'm just going to move my camera a little bit, but I'm putting my yarn side by side together like that, and I just covered my camera with my finger. And I'm going to pull them both out so that I can work them at the same time, okay? Because we're going to be using both when we do this, okay? Now, for the hat, instead of doing the magic circle, I found it easier for this, with you working with 2 strands here, to just do our little fake magic circle. So we're going to do a slip knot. Goodness gracious, I'm getting all tangled up. I usually don't cut off all my yarn, guys, but to make this easier, this is what I do. Okay, so we're going to be working with these 2 together to create the hat, and we'll do our slip knot. And can be a little bit difficult to get started when you're using 2 strands, but you can get it. Okay, so it's just like that. And the first thing you're going to do is chain 2, and then you're going to work 6 single crochets into the first chain from the hook. This is our little mock magic circle. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, and as you can see, it is a little thicker. It is a little hard to use this hook, but I promise it looks so good when we're done, so it's worth it. Okay, so then we'll pull this together just like that, and we still got a little magic circle thing going on there. Okay, so then we're going to count back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, so we know we need to go in right there, and we're going to do 2 in each one around for a count of 12. So we're going to go right in here, and we're going, working in the round, we're going to do 2 single crochets, and this gives us a candy cane look. And then the next 2 single crochets, so that's 4, and we're just going to count to 12. And the next 2, 5 and 6, 7 and 8, 9 and 10, and 11 and 12. Okay, and that's the beginning there of our hat. Now we are going to use a stitch marker again, so we're going to pull this out. Okay, and just like we've been doing with the body and the head and everything, we're going to start doing our increases. So the first thing we're going to do is our 1 and 2. So we're going to go right into our next stitch. We're going to do 1 single crochet, We're going to go into the next and do 2 single crochets, and then we're going to do that all the way around. 1 and 2 for a stitch count of 18. 1 and 2. Last one here, we're going to put 1, and every once in a while you will pull up just 1 piece of yarn. Just be careful to grab both. And then our last, we'll pull out our stitch marker and do our 2. Okay, then we're going to put our stitch marker back. And now we're going to go on to 2 and 2. So just like we did before with our body of the snowman, we're going to go right into the next and do 1, and go into the next and do 2, and then into the next 2 in this 1 stitch. So 1 single crochet, 1 single crochet, and then 2. And do that all the way around for a stitch count of 24. That's my little Rudolph clock. I don't know if y'all can hear that. But on the hour it plays Rudolph, the red-nosed reindeer. Okay, so we're just working our way around. As you can see, and this is why I don't always like to do the mock magic circle, you'll see that this tries to come up on you. And so what you need to do is you just need to pull the back side in a little bit, okay? So what did we just do here? 2, so 1 and 2. And then 2, and then pull our stitch marker out for our last 2 here. Okay. And then you would put your stitch marker back in, and right now you have a stitch count of 24, and I want you to now go ahead and do your single crochet rounds. And so you're going to need to do 4 rounds of single crochets with a stitch count of 24. Okay, so you're going to do 4 single crochet rounds. Okay, and you want this part on the inside obviously and this part on the outside. Okay, so when you get done with that, we'll meet you back up here, and so voila, magic. So what you have now, this is what your hat will look like when you're done doing your 4 rounds of single crochets. And so here at the end, you would pull out your stitch marker, and you would just simply, what I like to do when I'm doing hats of any kind, no matter how little or big they are, so that you don't see the change over, I'm not going to tie off here. I'm going to go into my next stitch, and I'm going to do a slip stitch. You see how that makes that look so much better? Then I'm going to cut off and just pull through and tie off. Okay, it looks so much better when you do it that way, and then you can just work that in. Or really, you could just stuff it all in the inside, whatever you want to do, because it's just going right on top of the snowman's head. So that's what it looks like. I'm going to go ahead and take this hat off, and then we'll put this one on. And There you go. As they wear, they get a little bit looser. But what we're going to do now, I'm going to show you how to do the little pom-pom for the top of the hat. Most of you probably know how to do this. I'm just going to quickly show you how it's done and how to attach it to the top of the hat, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my red yarn. I'll move this out of the way. So I'm going to take my red yarn and I'm just going to use my hand. You can use cardboard, you can look at other pom-pom videos if you want, but this is just the easiest way for me to do this. They actually even make pom-pom makers that you can buy at like Michael's and stuff like that. But this is just the way I do it. So I just take my yarn and I wrap it around my fingers. I'm going to probably do like 50 times. Probably more than 50 at this point, who knows. Okay, but anyways, just around 50 or 60 times, however you think that it's best to do. But now I've got it wrapped around my hand. I'm going to take another piece of yarn and I'm going to cut that off, and then I'm going to go right through my middle of my fingers here. And if you've seen another one of my videos, I showed you how to do this in one of those too. But I'm just going to go over it again in case you haven't seen it. But I'm just pushing the yarn through my middle fingers here, and I'm going to pull it through. And then I'm going to pull this side around, and I'm going to go through these two fingers. And then I'm just going to tie it. Okay, and for some reason it has suddenly gotten so dark in my dining room. That's where I film, is in my dining room, and I have 2 French doors and they just usually let in so much light, and now it's really dark. Okay, so now you're just going to tie a knot, pull it off your fingers, and I do 4. I do 4 knots. It's just my number. You can do as many as you want. I just want to make sure that it doesn't come undone. So there's 2, 3, and 4. Okay, then I take this and I hold it. I hold these 2 little scraggly pieces that I just tied. I want to keep those kind of separate just so I can hold it. So I'm going to hold it just like that, and then I'm going to go around and I'm going to cut this side. These loops over here, I'm going to cut this. Making sure I get each one. And then I'm going to go to the other side and cut that. Just making sure to get each one. Some might come out. It looks totally crazy. The point of these pom-poms is just basically trimming for forever. So then I take my hand and I pull up like this, just like right about there. And then I take my scissors and I just start going to town, cutting all this excess off. The smaller I make it, the more fluffier it's going to be for the top of this hat. And so I'm just going to go around, and I'm so sorry it's kind of dark in here, but you're just going to go around and just keep trimming until you get at the size that you want. And this makes a huge mess. So unlike me, have some kind of like bag, a grocery bag, or a little box, something to hold this stuff in, because it just is a mess. Okay, but anyway, so then that's what it would look like. You would shake it out. It still looks a little bit too big to me, so what I would probably do is I would just again pull up again, and then I would go around and keep cutting again until it got to be... Hi Sammy, I'm so glad you got to join us. So I would just keep going around, you know, until I got the size I wanted. To me, these pom-poms never look perfect. I see online videos of where they look perfect. I don't know if they're using the ones they bought or what they're doing, but anyways, but yeah, you just keep trimming. Then you can trim around. As you can see, it's starting to take shape. But that's as much as I'm going to do right now for this video, so we don't take much more time. I'm going to move all this stuff out of the way, and I'm going to show you how to attach this to your hat. So you've got these two scragglers that you had. You've got your pom-pom exactly the way you want it. And all you're going to do is you're going to take these, and hopefully yours will be a bit longer. I would suggest that they are. It makes your life much easier. But then you're just going to work these in. Put them on your darning needle. And right here on the very, very top, right here, I'm just gonna push this right through the very middle, right there, the very middle, okay? So right there, I've pulled through. I don't know if you can see that or not, because it has gotten dark in here. And then I'm just gonna let my yarn go for now. Then I'm gonna take my other piece that I had, because remember we had two, and I'm gonna put it on the darning needle. And then I'm going to go through right through that center again, okay? Then I'm going to pull it through. Now there's a lot of pieces in here that you can cut off if you want to, but basically I want to find these two that I just worked in, okay? And then you're going to tie those into a knot, all right? Those two little pieces. Now, because this is a snowman, if you're going to give it to a kid or something, I would suggest that you work in all your pieces. If you're making this for a child, please work in all your pieces. Remember to do them at least, you know, in and out 3 times, okay? Maybe even more, just so that it doesn't come undone when they're playing with it. Children can choke on yarn. It's actually something I have to say when I sell my any kind of toys or Afghans or anything. If you've got babies and you've got children, yarn can come undone, especially when you have children playing with them. So make sure you tie them in as best you can, and even after you do that, they can still come undone. Just like they do with other toys, they can do with crochet. So just make sure you get them tied in, but if it's just for your decoration in your home, you can simply just stuff it all in here. No one cares, okay? But then you've got your little pom-pom on the top. Yours is going to look way better than mine because you're going to trim it perfectly, but that's what it looks like, okay? Or this one is what it looks like. It looks a lot better, okay? So now what we're going to do is we're going to go on to the arms. I'm going to show you, they're very easy. I'm going to show you how to do, and my goodness, it's like nighttime in here. I'm going to have to call my husband in here again, bless his heart. I'm so glad he's here today. Hey, babe. I'm sure he hates me right about now. Now I can't see. It's too dark. Now it's too dark. He had to put an extra curtain up, thank you, over our things, and now you can't see it all. That was fine. Okay, but so now what we're going to do is we're going to work on the arms. Oh, we've got light. Thanks to Hubs. Okay, so to do the arms, what we're going to do is we're going to do a slip knot. You're going to do our fake magic circle. And by the way, just so you know what to, I always like it when people show me what I'm supposed to be doing. This is what they're going to look like, okay? And I can take the mitten off, but this is what they look like. Just simple, very simple. Okay, so I'm going to chain 2. I'm going to go into the first chain from the hook there, and I'm going to do 6 single crochets. Okay, and then you just pull it together, all right? And then what you're going to do is you're going to go right into your first, just like we've been doing, working in the round, we're going to go right into our first chain there, our single crochet, and we're going to do a single crochet. We're going to do a single crochet all the way around, and we're going to count to 60. So you're not going to stop. You're not going to worry about a stitch marker. You're not going to do anything. You're just going to keep going round and round and round till you get to 60. So there's 1. So I'm just going to count with you to show you what it looks like. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, then I'm going to want to make sure that this is turned the other way so that we have the right way facing out. Okay, we don't want this inside part facing out. And then we're just going to keep going around counting to 60. Okay, so 7, 8, 9, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and you just keep counting. And as you go, this will get, will start curling in on itself, okay? And it'll just keep getting longer and longer. As you can see already, it's starting to do that. And I don't even remember, I think maybe I was on 19, 20, we'll just pretend I was on 19, 21, 22. I just basically want to show you guys what it looks like as you keep going. Okay, and then I'm just going to pull up on this, and then as you keep going and you get to 60, it's just going to get longer and longer, and it will eventually look similar to this. Okay, and then what you're going to do is you're just simply going to, and I have this sewed on here so it won't move, but basically you're going to put your arms right at the base of the, between the head and the middle part of the snowman. Okay, so that's where you're going to put your arms. They're just going to hang down on each side. Okay, so you're going to do 2 of those. You need 2 of those arms. Okay, so that's how you do the arm, and now I'm going to show you how to do the mitten for the snowman. And to do the mitten, it's very similar to the arm. All you're going to do is you're going to do your fake magic circle. And this is what the mittens look like this right here. Okay, and then you're going to do chain 2, go to the first chain from the hook and do 6 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm sorry, you're going to do 8 single crochets. 5, 6, 7, and 8, and then you'll tighten that up. And then this time what you're going to do is you're going to keep working in the round as well, going round and round and round, not having to stop, not having to change anything, and you're going to count to 32. Okay, so we're going to count back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and you're going to go right into that first single crochet that you did. It's kind of hard to get into sometimes. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, and again you would just keep going round and round and round till you got to 32. Okay, so you would just keep going around and around, and it'll eventually build up and it will look like this. Okay, all right, and so then what you do is you simply, after you sew your arms on, all you're going to do is you're going to fit these right over your little arms, just like that. They're going to press on just like that, and then that's how they look. Okay, so you're going to sew, remember, you're going to sew those on right between As you can see, right between the head and the body. So now real quick, I'm going to show you how to do the scarf. All we've got left now is the scarf and the buttons. And then I'm going to show you how to do this, to do the eyes and the nose. Super, super easy. Okay. So now we're going to do the scarf, and we're going to do just like we did before. We're going to use our red and our white yarns to give us that candy cane look. And all you're going to do is you're going to, sorry, hit my camera. Again, with your yarn side by side and pulling these out both at the same time. You're going to do a slip knot, and then you're going to chain 25. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, and 25. Okay? And that is the base for your scarf. And now all you're going to do is you're going to go back down that 25 with half double crochets. Okay? So that means you're not going to go into this first one right here where your yarn's coming out of. You're going to go into the next one. So technically you'll have a stitch count when you get done of 24. Okay, so you're just going to do a half double crochet. If you don't know how to do that, let me show you real quick. You're just going to yarn over, go through the next stitch there, pull up your yarn, and instead of doing like a double crochet, you're just going to go through all 3. Okay, so you're going to do that all the way down, half double crochets. And if you're on Facebook or YouTube, you can go to my blog spot, and I'm going to try to get this pattern that I've created on there today, if at all possible. I'm going to try to do that in case you don't like videos and you just like to read patterns. I'm going to try to get that put in today on my blog spot. Okay, so, and that's just custom comfy crochet. So you just keep going all the way down with your half double crochets. As you go, you'll see that it starts turning a little bit, which is great because you want it to have a little bit of a little curve to it so that it looks natural on your snowman. So we're just going to keep going all the way down with half double crochets. Okay, so I'm pretty much going to end there because you get the gist on what you need to do. Then when you get done, you tie off, work in your yarn with your darning needle, and then it's going to look like this. And then all you would do is you would wrap it around the neck of the snowman, get it positioned how you want it. You can use your fingers and go like this with yarn, kind of like you would twirl hair. And believe it or not, sometimes it will kind of, look at that, it'll kind of stay a little bit. Look a little bit like a wind-blown scarf. You can wrap it around and tie it, but I found that for this it was better to just tuck it under and then sew it on. I wanted it to stay well. Okay, so on to the buttons. The buttons are so easy. It's the easiest thing about this whole project. This is black, so you're going to understand though from what I'm telling you how to do it, so it'll be okay. But all you're going to do is you're going to do a slip knot. You're going to chain 2. Thank you, Joyce. Hey, you guys, please share this. I see some of you have, but while you're on, please share. I appreciate it so much. But you're going to chain 2, and then you're going to go into the first stitch there, the first chain from the hook, and you're going to put 6 single crochets, just like we've been doing. So, and I know this is black and it's hard to see, but I think with my explanation, you should be pretty good. And then you just pull it closed. You go to your first chain, which you cannot see because this is black. You can't even see black when you're crocheting it yourself, let alone on a video. That's why people pay extra for black crochet, because it's difficult, very difficult. Okay, so you do a little slip stitch there to end it all. And that's it. There's your little button. How easy is that? And so then you would cut off, you would tie your ends in. We're gonna end that right there, just to pull that through. And then you're going to work all your ends in, and then you're going to make 3 of these, and then they just kind of go like this. I do want to show you real quick. Okay, so like for this, I would tie this end in right here with my darning needle. I mean, I would sew it in right here, and then I would leave one end on, and preferably a little bit longer to work into this. But I want to show you real quick how to work into the body of Amigurumi. Cannot say that word, because when you're doing anything stuffed for a crochet, there's a way to put your stuff in so that it stays and it doesn't come out. Okay, so I want to show you how to do that. So I'm going to use this little, I've got yarn everywhere, guys. I'm going to use this little one that we did earlier to show you how to put on the buttons. So imagine you've finished your button. I'm going to go ahead and work the back in so that we can do this correctly, because I really want to show you how to do this. Okay, now so I've worked that in. I'm going to work this in the back. This was just my middle piece that I started with. I'm still going to leave a piece hanging so that I can work into the snowman. So I'm just going to work this in. Okay, remember 3 is the thing. 3 times. That works. Okay. Then cut off my excess there. And now I've got, let's say you're working on your snowman, because really these only go on the middle. These 3 only go on the middle here. Okay, so I'm going to take my other piece that I have to work these in, and I'm going to put my yarn through my darning needle. Gosh, this black is so hard to see. I'm so sorry. But you'll be able to see it against the white here soon. Okay, so here we are. I'm fixing to attach my buttons. This is what it looks like. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to attach these through. So I'm going to go right in here, just like that, right through the middle. And I'm going to go right through the middle of my crochet, and I'm going to come out right over here. Okay, you can come out wherever you want, but let's just say I'm going to come out right here. Okay, then I'm going to go right back through that same hole, and I'm going to come up over here somewhere, because I want this button to stay. Okay, so let's say I'm going to come up way over here on the other side, and remember, y'all leave a bigger piece of yarn than what I've got working with here, make it easier. Okay, then I'm going to go in one more time. All right, and I'm working all the way through. There's stuffing in there and everything, and I'm just working it through. Okay, and look at that, your button's on there perfectly. You're going to see sometimes when you do that, look at that, that made an indentation where my needle went through, and all you have to do is take your darning needle and just go like this. Look at that. It just pulls it right back up. Okay, because sometimes the needle will do that. All right, so then what I do is I take this piece and I pull on it as hard as I can so that it'll spring back into whatever stuffed animal or stuffed thing I'm making, but in this case into our snowman. But look, because I'm using black, you can see it. Okay, if you don't get it close enough, sometimes that'll happen. So what you do is you just take your darning needle and you just keep poking at it. Poke, 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 poke. And then you can pull it out, and voila, it's gone. Can't see it. Isn't that amazing? That's how you do it. Okay, now to do the eyes, I'm going to turn this around. We're going to use the same one here, and I'm going to show you how to do the eyes and the nose. There's no mouth on this. If you want to put a mouth, you can. If you want to make a little carrot, you can. But I just wanted to make this as simple of a project as I possibly could. I wanted to make a lot of it similar, just so it's just easy to do and it's not complicated. So I just gave him a little black nose. Okay, so I'm going to put some black yarn onto my darning needle. All right. What you can do is okay, so I'm looking at this, and this is going to be my face. This is actually the body, so it would be a lot smaller if it was the face. I'm going to take his little hat off. Oh, he's so naked without his little hat. Okay, so let's just say that this is the face. Okay, so I know where I want my eyes and my nose at. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a couple of stick pins, and I'm going to put them where I want my eyes. So let's say I want an eye there, and I want an eye over here, okay, and then I want let's say I want my nose right, let's say right here. Okay, now I've got all the space markers that I want, okay, because I didn't have another little pearl thing there, but now I know exactly where I want all my little things to go. Okay, my eyes and my nose. So then I'm going to take my thread, and you would think, oh, I need to put like something on the end of it, you know, like you're sewing like a knot on the end. No, this is what you're going to do. You're going to come back from way back here, and you're going to start working in your yarn, and this will make it where it doesn't come undone. So I'm working it in. I'm only working it in as far as I can't see it. Okay, so I know it's where I can't see it now. So now I'm going back into the same place so we can't see. Okay, and I'm working my way up to the eye, because as I'm doing this, I'm working my yarn in so it won't come undone. So I'm going to get right up here to where I have my little stick pin, okay, and I'm going to go right in there. All right, so now I know where I need to be. I'm going to take my stick pin out, and I'm just simply going to make, okay, so right here I am. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go over this way, and I'm going to go right back in. You're always wanting to go right back in where you were, okay? And then I might go through one more time to make it more defined. Okay? And look at that. Now you've got an eye. Okay, so then I'm going to go right back into the same spot I just came out of. And now I'm going to go over here, okay, to where this other eye is. Now I know where I need to be, and you can see this is starting to indent. That's okay. Remember, you can use your needle to pull this back out, okay? So I'm going to take my stick pin out. I'm going to go through again just like that. And one more time to make it maybe a little bit more definition, okay? And that's all you do there, just like that. And so now for our nose, which you better be careful because my stick pin just got lost in here somewhere. So if your stick pin ever gets lost in here, be brave, because you got to keep pushing till it comes back out. I'm not going to do that for the video because I know no one wants to hear me scream. But anyway, so that's somewhere in that poor snowman now. But I'm going to put this back where I had it right here. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go down to the nose. We're not going to undo anything because we've got this black yarn worked in so well. We're going to go right back into the same place we came out of. We're going to go right down here to where our nose is. Okay. And to do a nose, what I like to do is I like to, now I'm working upside down, but I can take this out now and I can just go like this. And I just kind of keep going around and around, and it gives it definition because it's making it look thicker and it's poking out. So I'm probably going to do that a couple times, okay? And now we've got our eyes and our nose, okay? And like I said, if there's any indentations anywhere, just take your needle and pull it through, okay? So now that I'm here, I'm going to go right back into the same spot I just came out of. And now I'm going to start working in the end of this yarn so I know it won't come off. So I'm going to just pull it through anywhere, okay? And then I'm just going to do this like 3 times. So I'm going to go right back in to the same spot, pull it through, right back in, pull it through, and then voila, that is never going to come undone. I mean, unless you really, really work at it, maybe you could get it out. So I'm going to pull really tight so it springs back in, and I'm going to cut off. And that time it actually went back in without leaving anything. And where I have worked the yarn, that's where our button was, But where I've worked the yarn, you can see again that there's some little indentations like down here. And like I said, all you have to do is just do this. I'm just taking my needle, pulling up on it, you know, move it around. And isn't that great? That's how you do it, guys. And the same for when you're sewing on your arms. When you're sewing on your arms, you're going to come through down here, way down here, and you're going to move your way up, and then you're going to sew in your arms, and then you're going to pull it back through, just like we did the button and the eyes. You're just going back in and out of the stuffed animal so that it doesn't come undone. So I hope you like this, guys. I think we did everything right. I showed you how to do the body. I showed you how to do the head. We did the mittens and the arms and the scarf and the hat and the little poof. And he is just darling. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask me. I'll be more than willing to help you if you need anything whatsoever. If you have any ideas, any suggestions, anything that you want to see or learn how to do, please let me know. And please send me your pictures. Sammy's on here, and she sends me her pictures, and I love it. A lot of other people do too, but she just happened to be on, and I thought about her. So please, I just love to see what people's work, what they're doing. It just excites me. So yeah, so we're done with our snowman, and I'm going to tell you about our next project, and this one is a doozy. The next one we're going to be doing is we're going to learn how to make this beautiful poinsettia. This is probably going to take a couple videos. This is actually pretty, the leaves aren't hard to do or anything like that, but it is done with flower wire. Okay, so if you want to look around to get if you want to do this with me and you want to get the materials that you need, if you don't have them, you are using wire. I'm going to show you in the end how to cover this and what to do with it, but just so you know, you do need flower wire. I did get some of this, gosh, I can't remember the name of it. It was at Walmart. It was over where the thread yarn was. I did use some of this, but you can just use green. You don't need this. And then you just need a red. I got Simply Soft Karen for this, because you are going to be working around the wire in the leaves to make them more stiff and pliable so that you can move them around. Okay. But this is going to be our next one, and I'm going to show you how to do all these different petals, how to put it together. For this, I'm going to be making another one of these. And I laugh because they really are, they're beautiful, but they are a little bit of tedious work. It's just because there's just so many leaves to do. But I'm going to do another one of these, and then I'm going to make a runner for my living room table, and I'm going to have one poinsettia on one end of the runner and a poinsettia on the other. But I'm going to show you how to do all of that, so that'll be our next tutorial. So thanks, guys, for watching. I appreciate it. You have a great rest of your Sunday, and happy crocheting.
When you're gone, the night is cold as it is long, and the earth that made you humble won't write about is the love that made you crumble from the inside out. I believe in a new day to come that is always darkest before the dawn.